a lot of you have asked for this thing, that's why we are doing it. This is not a certification or anything. I'm going to tell a different HTML, CSS, JavaScript and React this interview questions which are according to my experience. See, I have 16 years in the IT field, and before becoming a full-time trainer, I was working in various companies. And in fact, in my last company, I was the person who was taking the most number of interviews. So I've taken more than 1,000 interviews in my career. So it is like that I know what is been taken. But okay, one thing I have to tell, that I have not worked a lot in a totally product-based company in which DS and algos are there. So there will be no DS and algos and all. This is a bit for startups and service-based company. See, in those companies, the way of interviewing is totally different, and that you can learn from some big company like Scalar and all. So that is that, because for them, you if you want to prepare, it takes more than a year to prepare for such companies, because for them there is a DS and algo round, there is a although I have given one DSN algo round for Uber, so I know that DSN algo rounds are there. Then your machine round is there, where they give a very complicated problem to solve. So all those things are there. So those things are there. Although I know some of the questions which they ask, but I'm not the perfect expert to tell that thing, because for I help people to get a web app developer job in startups or in a service companies and all. So that is the motto of TWD. Okay, so we don't go for those big product based companies and all. Okay, so that is there, and we'll start. And with this my create series, okay, hello on. And as there will be no certifications and all for this, okay, we're just seeing the interview questions and all. Okay, okay. Okay. So let me share my screen and all. So even I am going to, so we'll start with HTML first. Start with HTML first, maybe. Okay. So I have this time. I will do it in online code editor known as JSfiddle. I generally do it in online code editors like JSBin, but this time let us do it in JSfiddle. Okay. So this is like this. Uh, so this is not again a please. This is not again a career solving thing. So how should I approach company? I'm not a student. Please, this is not a career related thing. We are going to learn about the question. So those things, if you want some career related thing, please do ask me on LinkedIn, and I will be happy to answer. So you're not a student, then I always please do attend my workshop, 3 hour workshop on Saturdays, in which we always tell how to you approach if you are a homemaker, if you are someone, because I have students who are homemaker, I have people who are mechanical engineers, I have people who are electrical engineers and all those things. So everything, it depends upon who you are. I don't even know who you are, because I can guide you based on that, who you are, what is the problem, were you preparing for UPSC that you have such a big gap. So all those things are there, because I have students, all of the people are like that. UPSC students are there, housewives are there, electrical engineers are there, mechanical engineers are there, electronic engineers are there, everybody is there for my students. Okay, so that is there, so that we can talk later on. So let us first understand the HTML interview questions. So in the HTML interview questions, they can ask means like a very common HTML interview question is like what is HTML? Okay, what is HTML? So HTML, that you find out what is HTML. HTML is hypertext. Okay, so what is HTML? The first thing. Okay, I have also commented it out so that it is not giving this. Oh, HTML stands for hypertext markup language, and I'm not going to write the answer and all. I'm just going to tell it. It stands for hypertext markup language, and it is used to for the skeleton of any website. So for skeleton of any website, three things are required. One is HTML, one is CSS. CSS is for styling, and JavaScript is to give the events and all, handles all those events and all. So this is the HTML. Okay. So please don't ask about this career related question. What please, these are all career related questions. These are not means you go through our series in React and all. We do have this React certification. Do projects. That's the only way to do it. Okay, so learn from different people. If you're not able to understand from me, there are a lot of people who will teach good HTML, good React and all. Okay, so please do from that. Okay, so this is like what is HTML. The second question which is generally asked is like what are tags? What are tags actually? So tags are like the HTML elements. So like the h1 and all. So they are like tags. So like h1. So let me write a bit like h1 and all. So h1 is a tag. Oh, this is not auto complete also. H1 is a tag like HTML basics. Okay, this is good. HTML basics. So H1 is a tag, and so most of the tags have starting and ending, and some of them don't have. So this is like that. What are tags? Okay. So next question, if you say what are tags are like H1 and P and all of this. So the interview will ask the next question: Do all tags have an end tag? Do all HTML tags have an end tag? And you have to say no. Some of them don't have, like the image tag is there, like the input tag is there. So though they don't have a end tag, like the input, you can give an example now like that. Most of the time, interview will give you some code to write, because nowadays what happens, one of the round is like interview will give you a small question in some online editor to solve it, and that will come back to that later on. So input like type text. So this doesn't have an ending. This doesn't have an ending. Okay. So like that, this doesn't have an ending. I'll run it and see. This is like it doesn't have an ending. So that is there. And HTML doesn't have much questions. We'll go soon to your CSS. Okay, how many types of heading tags does an HTML contain? So the next question is how many heading tags does an HTML contain? So heading tags, there are 6 heading tags and all. Okay, there are 6 heading tags, and they are h1 and h2, 3, h4. Okay, not h5, h6, h2, h3, h4, h5, h6. So that is there. Save it and run it. Okay, you run it, so you'll see this, all these things. These are the different things. Okay, now one of the very important questions, which is like the means HTML, they won't ask much questions. Much of the questions will be asked in CSS only. So one of the main questions in HTML is a very important question. I think it is the only important question in HTML, because the rest of the questions are very easy and you should know those things. Okay, so here I can do one more thing. I can make it also, because we're not using JavaScript here anymore, so I can make it down. So this is one of the most important question in HTML. What is a semantic HTML? This is something which most people don't know. What is like semantic HTML? They don't know this. What is semantic HTML? Okay, so I'll provide this JSfiddle, so you'll get the questions. I'll provide this JSfiddle. So please, I cannot solve all of your React JS router version 6 questions, and please, I cannot solve the solutions, because we are a very big company, and we don't have means like we don't go on and solve everyone questions. Like React router version 6 is a very complicated thing. We also don't ask people to use React router version 6. It's only 2-3 month old, and it is have a lot of issues. React router version 6. Okay, so that is there. Okay. So that is there, and yeah, H1 is the biggest tag. That is good. Yeah. Okay. So that is good, Ankush. So this is the semantic HTML. Semantic HTML is something which most people don't know, because but when I was taking interview, this was my last question. If even if I generally only used to ask what is HTML and directly go to this. What is semantic HTML? Semantic HTML is something which is very important HTML question, which is like something which you should know, because semantic HTML for the past 4-5 years is very popular. So what is semantic HTML actually? Semantic HTML, like what happens in HTML, like this div and span, all of those have no meaning. Div and span have no meaning. So what happens when the HTML right now, the people want the internet to be accessible by everyone, including the people who have difficulty to see things. So here, what is happening? Everything you have to give like semantic, like the it is like header is there, footer is there. Header and footer. In the header and footer, you have to put the nav. In the header, there is something known as a nav also. So the tags which are there are like header is there, and the tags. And then I'm not going to do it completely. In the header, we have nav. We put the all the nav. At the end of the day, everything here is a div only, but they are like this, so that there's something known as a screen reader. See, I was telling about the people who have difficulty in C. So what they do, they run the website through something known as a screen reader, and the screen reader have very much difficulty when you do the div and all those things. So it doesn't reads your whole website. It's go and reads your HTML tags, those are screen reader. For that, these headers and all these things are required. You see, in some of the countries like Australia and European Union, it is mandatory to have it accessible. So they are very strict on that. If you work for some European country or some Australia, you know that these things are very important there. In all the other countries, is not that much important because it doesn't make sense. I can use div also instead of this. But this is for accessibility. This is for accessibilities and all those things. Header, nav, and all those things I can give, and nav and all. Okay, so that is there. Header, nav, and then there is there in now the main part. So header and footer are there. Footer, you put all the footer there. So I'm not going to tell what is there. Put footer and all you have to put. So footer and all you have to put. And there are two more things are there. One is a section. So section in the body means the header and footer are there. There is a section tag is also there, and there is a article tag is also there. Learn about it. What is section? What is article? And there is one more thing which is there in this semantic, which is known as aside. Aside is for the sidebar. So these things are there, like nav and header, section, article, aside, and footer. So these are the things which are there. So this will sections and article, they are mainly for the what kind of means articles and all those things are there. Means a bit of like div only, means a lot of sections. If I have 3 sections, and I have seen people using section more than article. So section, like there's not much difference between them. But then also this can also be an interview questions, like what is the difference between section and article. But there is not much difference between them. Okay, so you can learn about them. Okay, and so now we'll move to the CSS. We move to the CSS part, because CSS part is something which people will ask more than asking this Java, HTML and all. Okay, so this will end here, and then I will come as JS. I'll open a new JSfiddle, and we are going to learn about CSS. We'll learn about CSS. Okay, let me do it like this. Okay, so one of the very important questions about CSS is that we write a question in HTML also. What is the difference between div block, div inline display block, inline block, and inline? Okay, display block, inline, and inline. So this is a very important interview question. So these properties are that by default everything is display block on the page, but there are some tags which are by default block level element. They are, and some of the tags are inline element. Then also there is a bit difference between inline block and block, that also we'll see. So each, what happens with each block level element, it covers the whole width of the page, like div, p, hr, ul, ol, li. A lot of other tags are there, and many more. In fact, 70% of the tags are like block level only. Okay, only 30% of them are inline. So there is something like known as this inline block also, because that is also something we will learn. So let us take it through a small example, like div, and all right, class equal to x, y, 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 and y. Okay, so I have this, I have to run this. Okay, one more thing I have to, okay, saved it. This is saved. Okay, so why are there? Let us have some style for this. Okay, so div. Okay, so one more thing, in CSS we can change, by default div is a display block. So it is a block level element. But with CSS, what happens? You can change a block level element to inline, inline to block level. That is something which is there. Okay. So I'll come here and div, and I'll do a display of block. Okay, you can give like this, display of block, and maybe I'll do a color of white and font size of 40 pixel. This I'll do. And as I've told, a lot of elements are block level element, but we can change some of the CSS. That is the power of CSS. So okay, this will not show. So I will do dot x. We'll do here only back, and the background is like red. Why is that? Okay, so as you can see, I have given the display block, so everything is coming in one after then. I have given some font size and all those things so that it can be looking good. So like this is a display block. By default div is a block level element only, but I can give a display block also. Okay, now I can change the property here. Okay, so this is a display block. Okay, this is maybe I will write like okay, display of second display of block. This display of block, and now I will write a display of inline block. Display of inline block. So what happens with display of inline block? It is like, let me show you the example. And as I told, most probably try to give it, means if it is a physical interview, they will give you a whiteboard to do this thing, or and if it's an online interview, they will give you some online editor to do this thing, maybe like this only, because all of the interview gives like this. Because what happens at the end, they are going to give you a small problem to solve. Okay, small problem to solve. Okay, like do a API call to something and get the result. So like that they will give you x1 y1 z1 and x1 y1 and z1 and do. Now instead of this div, I will have it as dot x comma dot y z. Dot y1 and comma dot y1 and z1. Okay. Display, this time I'll take inline dash block. Display inline dash block. Let me run it. See, it will come one after the another. Okay, it is like I should add a br also here, breaker, or else it will come like. Okay, so now see, you can see the inline block, they are coming one after the another. Inline block are quite similar to inline element, which you are going to see next. They're quite similar to that. So they will come in one row, piling after one another, each other, and the height of the width are the content by default. So whatever is the content, the height and the width are that. Okay, so the inline block is the inline is also something like that. But inline block generally we give it like this. And inline is by default, there is a lot of tags which are inline, like anchor tag, image tag, input, br, select. Okay, but again through CSS we can make anything like block and inline. Okay, so that is there. So let us now do a inline, and there is a another difference which I'm going to tell now means what is the difference between this inline and inline block. Again, a very important interview question, because when interview will ask you this, after that the next question will be what is the difference between inline and inline block. Okay, let's see that also. So this thing will come like this, and then I'm going to do here. See, again I'll have a PR here. How to link both pages. I'm using a code editor, so I don't have to link the pages. Everything is linked here. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so Sheetal, I don't have to link the pages because everything is linked here, because this is known as a code editor. Like we have a JSBin code edit. I use a lot this. So these are like online code editors. You don't have to link like HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Everything is linked here. And I will give this link in the description, so you'll get that. Okay, so that is the, so display inline I have done, and then in the display inline I will have this thing again. Okay, let's do y2 and set 2, and let's do y2 and okay, again it will come like this. Okay, so you might be saying, okay, there is no difference between display inline block and display inline. There is no difference between that. Okay, and again there is some space between both of them. There seems to be no difference here. Okay, so that is there. So one more thing, like by default the inline block, the inline elements are, see, I'm not taking it here, but it is a bit of maybe you can think it of as a HTML question also, because with CSS we can change this thing. By default there are some tags which are like a block level elements, like this I will also write that thing here. So block level elements, like in the block level elements I'll put it here. Block level elements are these tags. Okay, block level elements by default these tags are there, dp and all. And with CSS we can change. With display I can change even a div which is by default a block level element. I'm changing it to inline block, I'm changing it to inline. So that is what can happen with a CSS. Okay, so and what are the inline thing which by default takes on inline? They're like anchor tag and all. So these are all those things are there. Okay, maybe this can be your HTML question. Okay, so another thing is that is it means, now let us come to the other question. Is it so I should do it in different, okay, so different JSfiddle, because this was a very big question. Okay, so now the question is it possible to have width and height in display inline and display inline block and display inline? Okay, or what is the difference between what is the inline block exactly? Okay, what is the inline block? Because inline is quite obvious what is. Okay, so a lot of questions can come related to display inline block. Okay, because it's a different thing. You have might have not even, I also generally don't show this that much, because in production code it is hardly used, but interview is not always our production code. See, JavaScript also sometimes they ask about prototypes and all, which is not a production code. Nobody uses prototypes. Okay, so that was something which we covered in the previous week in JavaScript advanced to mastery. And I told at that time also that okay, these questions are there, they are very tough questions, but they are not used in production, but they might be asked in the interviews, especially the interviews for service based company. It is asked a lot. Okay, so even I have given that those interviews in some big product based companies also. So they ask sometimes those things like prototypal inheritance and all those things. Please go through previous weeks recordings and you will find out about them. Okay, maybe we'll cover that in the JavaScript part. Okay, so the next question which I'm going to see is the what is the inline block? Okay, inline block is a combination of display block and display inline, as the name suggests. So it has some of the properties of the block level element. Okay, and main properties is from your inline only. Okay, inline only, the main properties is there. So but the question is, it possible to have a width and height in a display inline block, which where it is possible. Okay, and so what we are going to do, maybe we are going to copy this thing. Okay. So maybe I'll remove this I'll copy, and so, and the CSS also I'll copy. I'm not using X, better to remove it. Okay. So run it, and we'll get it like this. So by default you'll see there is no differences there. Okay, but there is a difference in display inline block. Display inline block, what happens, it can have a width and height. The thing is that it can have a width and height. So this is actually two answers. It can have a width and height. How it can have, let us try it. Okay, I will give a width, and this is very important interview question. Okay, width as 100 pixel and height as 100 pixel. I'll give this thing, and here also I'll give it. Okay. At both places I given it, and x2, y2, x2 and z2 are what? They are your display inline. So again, let me save it, and I will run it. See, it is not having any effect. So this is the difference between inline block and inline. Inline block can have width and the height, but if in inline you give a width and height, it will have no effect. There is no effect, nil effect. But here you can give. So that's why inline block has some of the features of a block level element also, display block also. It has got some of the feature. Okay, so that is like that. Okay, so okay, so again another question, is it possible to have padding and margin in display block and display inline? Okay, so let us see that. Okay, so what is the question? The question is like, is it possible to have padding and margin in display inline block and display inline? And the answer is, it is possible to have padding and margin in both. So sometimes you might be confused. This can be the next question. You might be confused. Okay, is it possible? And the answer is yes, it is possible in both of them. Okay, so let us again understand this, like inline block. Okay, maybe the width and the height I have given. Okay, so width and height was having no issues and all. So maybe I'll give here. Okay, what should here only padding as 20 pixel and margin as padding as 20 pixel and margin as 30 pixel. Okay, so both of these things I have given, padding as 20 pixel and margin as 30 pixel, and let me see that, run it and see. The padding and the margin both are in effect here. So maybe this is like in one. Okay, I'll have a padding as 10 and margin as 10 because it will become way too big. And see, here also the padding and the margin are being given. Width and height is not possible here, but padding and the margin are quite possible here. Okay, in both of them it is possible. So again, I'll save it and run it. So see, so even the padding and the margin, it is moving. Maybe I'll have the margin as 20, so that it's a bit okay. So this is possible. This is possible in both of the thing. Okay, so this is again a very important interview question. So then the next thing is that how to. This is a tricky question. This a lot of people will not know. JSfiddle. I'll again open a JSfiddle like this, and in this JSfiddle, I'll have like the next question is like how to eliminate default gap in display inline block and display inline. How to eliminate the default gap there. Okay, so this is a very important interview question. So as we know, there is a gap in both of them. Okay, so let us now, let me do one thing again. Let me have both of them. Okay, but let's add one and this. And this one I have. Let us have a basic one first. Okay, we'll run it, and it will anyways show like this. Okay, and the question was, can we eliminate a default gap? Default gap is this. See, this thing is the known as a default gap. Some padding and all these things are there, so the default gap is there. Okay, instead of this, I'll have a HR here, and maybe HR here. So how to eliminate this thing, like by default everything have means a bit of margin it has got. Okay, margin is got. So this gap is there, but that is because of the margin. So how to eliminate this thing? Okay, so it is a bit difficult to eliminate this thing. Okay, and there are some tricks are there. So that's why I was telling you it's a very tricky question. Okay, so most of the people I think won't be able to make it. Okay, so again, there is a very good article about it. About it. Okay, there is a very good, yeah, Ankit, thanks for that. Please do subscribe if you're not yet subscribed. Please do subscribe and like. Please do that. Okay, so that is there, and so that is there, and how to eliminate this. Okay, how to eliminate this, let us find out that. Okay, so they have given a lot of things like how to eliminate the gap and remove the space like this. See, a weird kind of tricks are there. This is one of the way to eliminate it. Let us use this way to eliminate this thing, and that way is like okay, that is not this way, I think. Okay, this way I'm going to use. With comments also you can eliminate. This is a weird kind of thing, but yeah, we can eliminate with this. And I will do this, like maybe I will have one with normal like this, so that you will know that we can eliminate it with this. Okay, maybe I'll write. Okay, that I'll write later on. So how to eliminate with this? With this, I have to do a knot like this, and it will, by default, if I do this, it will make it whole. So this is a weird kind of a thing, but weird kind of things are always there. Like this. See, the margins are eliminated. This is totally weird kind of thing, I know, but this is a very tricky question. And see, this is the only way to eliminate these margins, or else it will not be eliminated. Okay, so maybe I'll write here issue faced. But if you tell this to the interviewer, he will be very, very happy. Okay, so that is there. So this is there. Now a very popular CSS question without with any CSS interview is incomplete, and that is a very easy one actually. Okay, that everybody knows, and that is like, what is the CSS box model? Without this, no, means when we do our CSS crash course also, we always say that okay, CSS box model is one of the most interview questions. See, this was a very tricky question. This, even the interviewers know that 90% or 99% of people won't be able to tell this thing, but this is something which they expect. Okay, this all things they expect. Okay, but one thing which they definitely expect, without which you will fail the interview, it is like, what is the CSS box model? Okay, not here. what is a CSS box model? Okay, that is something which you always have to tell. Okay, so CSS box model is a box that wraps around every element HTML, which contains content, padding, border, and margin. And it's always better to show it through an example. Like I will have a div here, and then I will have a in this div, I will have a div. I give this div uh, height of 100 pixel, width of 100 pixel, padding of 10 pixel, and border of 20 pixel solid red, and margin of 30 pixel, and maybe background of blue, like this. I'll have, so it will show like this. Okay, so height, width, padding, border, margin. So the box model consists of four things, which is the content here means the width or the height, or content is another thing also. If you don't give the width and the height, okay, so if you give the real content, like maybe is lorem is allowed here, maybe I will do a lorem. Okay, lorem is there, and then we will remove this. Okay, because this is much better to show it like this, because content is not width and height, or content can be width and height also, but content can be the real content also. See, the content here is this, content here is this lorem ipsum text. Okay, that is there. And what is this padding? Padding is like everything which is like wrapping. So if I will have a bit more padding, so padding is actually which wrap the content is known as a padding. Okay, it's known as a padding, and this color should be actually it should be yellow, because I'm not able to read the text. Okay, so this is there like this. And margin is what? So border, you can see border is this 20 pixels solid red all the way around. Margin is like between two different elements, it is the margin. See, if it is like 30 pixels from here, and that is there. So there are four things in the box model. This is very important to say to the interviewer. One is this box model consists of content first, after that the padding is there, after the border is there, after the margin is there. You can also show them, like if I right click and inspect on anything like this, and there will always be like this. Where is it? Where is the box model here? Okay, they've computed and all. Okay, okay, yeah, and here is the box model. In every browser I'm using Firefox Developer Edition, but it will be there. So if you see there, here also this the box model is there. It will show like what is the content. If you hover your mouse over it, it will tell it over the content. Okay, it will take over the content and all. And after this the padding is there. After this padding, it is giving me the 20 pixel all the way around. And then after that border is also 20 pixel all the way around. And then this is the margin. So this is the margin is like 30 pixel all the way around. So this is the box model. Every browser shows the box model. So that is there. This is the most important question in CSS. Okay, so that is there. Then okay, okay, another important question is okay, what is the difference between box sizing content box and box sizing border box? Again, a very important question. This is there, and again we teach this in a CSS course also. What is the difference between them? And the difference between them is that by default everything is box sizing content box. It means that the content is separate from the border and the padding. Content is separate from the border and the padding. And border box means the border includes the content, and a border in box width. Okay, not the box width include the border and the padding. Okay, Okay, so let us do again in this. So by default this is like the this is like the content box. By default it is content box. So you can also give like this box sizing and as content box is there, box sizing content box. Okay, okay, that is there, box sizing content box, and it will not have anything. So the content, whatever the content is there, it is separate from the padding 10 pixel and all on both sides. So now we will see this, make this as, see even if I will inspect it, and maybe I'll do a up to the left. Okay, so it is like this. Okay, so this content is there. After that your this padding is there and border is there. So padding and the border are there, they are not a part of this thing. Padding and the border are top of it, they're not a part of the content. Okay, so now what we are going to do, just you'll see if I going to change it to, by default content box, even if you don't give it, the content box will be there. And content box means that a padding and the border are different than the content, and I'll do it as a border box. It's the border box. See, it actually it shrinked. It actually shrinked. It actually took it according. I should make it at a bottom. Actually, it shrinked. Now, if you come here, run it, save it, and run it. That is my dev. Okay. It is much better to see this example in a different thing. Okay, wait a sec. What I'm going to do, I'm going to make another div with the class box sizing and box model. This one doesn't have anything like this because it is not showing correctly, because I have to show it with, so I will remove it anyway. Border box on here, it's not showing anything. Height of 100 pixel and width of 100 pixel. Okay. So height of 100 pixel and width of 100 pixel. First I will have this as nothing, like this I'll have. So if I run it, see, now the width and the height are there. Let me come here and inspect, and so I'll inspect this one. So this box sizing, this, if I now go down this, okay, this width and the height are 100 pixel 100 pixel. After that there is a padding of 20 pixel, and after that the border is there. So after that this padding of 20 pixel is there, after that the border is there. Okay, so that is there. So if I change it to like this, box sizing border box, now you'll see the difference. Now it has become a bit smaller. It has become a bit smaller. So why it has become a bit smaller? To inspect and see, here I am do. So here this is now 20 into 20. This is now like the width and the height are like 20 into 20, and this whole thing is like this padding, and then after this border is there. Okay, so this padding and the border, padding and the border are contained within the width and the height. So that is like a border box. So padding and this border. So it has become a bit smaller the moment I give this border box. So that is the border box. Okay. And then just go ahead. One tricky question is that can we have, okay, I will have this thing there only because I'm not going to write many things in there. Can we have negative padding and negative margin in CSS? Okay, can we have them negative padding and negative margin in CSS? So negative padding, so the answer to this is that padding, what is padding? Padding is like whatever the content is there, it will uh, push the content to make space around the content. Okay, when if I make the padding as 0, so it will be like it will not have anything like this. Margin pushes the content away from the existing boxes. If some other box is also there, so margin will put it away. Okay, so by default, by having a margin as negative, we can have a lot of interesting CSS display cases, but negative padding actually doesn't makes any sense and it is not allowed. So the answer is that we can have, okay, let me write the answer also. we can have we can have negative margin but no negative padding. This is the answer. We can have negative margin but no negative padding. So this is the answer. So that is done. Now still a lot of CSS questions are remaining. So let us do something more, like what is a specificity in CSS. This is quite difficult to tell what is the specificity in CSS. So specificity, let me write that thing. What is like a specificity in CSS? Okay, so what is that? So if you have two HTML elements that have conflicting styles, then the browser decides which one to apply on based on the specificities. You see, specificity, whatever it is. The specificity is nothing but a set of rules for the browser. Okay, so let us look on them. Okay, so from the starting like this, I will have a div. I'll have a div like window. So in the CSS, if I have a div like back round as green, and similarly I have a div of background as red, which one will be taken? So the last one will taken. Last one will taken. So browser decided the okay. So the same thing. So the last one will be taken. Last one will be taken. So now what will happen? Okay. So if there is a class root, what will happen if there is a class root? So the next thing is like I have a class equal to name. I have a class equal to name. So what will happen here? So I will have a div dot name here. Div dot name I have taken. Now what will happen? Now the specificity of the class become higher than the normal div. So that one will be taken. Okay. So the class name will be taken. So because its specificity have become more. So what will happen if I have an ID? So I will have an ID equal to name ID. I'll have this thing ID equal to name ID. So IDs will take by the hash. And now what will happen? Now again it will be given to the ID because ID have a specificity more than classes. One of the reasons we don't take ID much in the CSS, we take ID for JavaScript. not a hard written rule, but you see most of the time we take the id for the JavaScript, like document.get element by id and all those things we do. But in CSS we mainly take these classes and all. Okay, so that is there. So that is one thing is there. Okay, so but what is the highest specificity of an element? Okay, so highest specificity, see, as I've told, id and classes, but uh, there is one more specificity which is actually you'll get to hear this in a lot of projects, that you should not do this, but I have always find developers doing this thing when everything fails, because in big projects CSS fails a lot. You will not even get to know where this color is coming, because in one project like 10 people works, so how can you know from where it is coming? So I've seen a lot of developers using this thing, which although it was not allowed, then also you'll see background yellow, and I'll do a hash important. If I do a hash important, it overrides almost everything. Almost everything it overrides. This is the highest specificity. So it will not even this classes and IDs and names. Anything doesn't matter. It is like this, and that's why it is prohibited. But again, if something is prohibited, that the other person is going to do the most. Because in big projects, always the team leads and the architects say that you should not use this thing. This thing is a bad thing, bad practice. But then also people do this because it has got the highest specificity. You don't even have to use a brain, and if you're seeing that okay, your CSS is breaking, you just do this thing, it will be, but then someone else's CSS will break, so that thing happens. But this one is having the highest specificity. Okay, so that is like that. So now the next question is like, how to centrally align a block element inside another element in plain CSS. So I'm not asking for a flexbox or something. You can do it with flexbox and grid in a very easy way. But sometimes the interviewer will ask how to do it in plain CSS without flexbox, or maybe they can specify also without flexbox and CSS. And there are some tricky ways to do that thing. Because what used to happen earlier, it was very difficult to centrally align something. Okay, so that is there. So I'll have a div of and class equal to out, and div of class equal to in, and have like this. And then in the CSS I'll go and do a dot out like this, and width of 300 pixel, height of 300 pixel, and background of yellow, and dot in, take this thing, width of 100 pixel, 100 pixel, and blue. If I run it, it will be shown like this. So this outer one have a width of 300 pixels, and it is starting from the 100. So what I want to do, I want to move it to the center. So moving to the center, we can make the main out as a, so there are some other tricks also to do. There's a lot of tricks are there. So I'll make it as a position relative. So now I can move the inner one. If I make a position relative, I can move it in comparison, and we teach position relative also in a CSS class, CSS crash course. Please you can check that out. Then I'll do a position as absolute. Position as absolute I'm going to do, and if I do this, nothing will happen anyways. I have to move it. So that is when we do a position absolute, we get access to top, right, bottom, left. So I'll do a top of 50%. I'll do like this, top of 50%. Save it and run it. So it has moved to the just top of the 50% is moved. So now I'm going to do a left of 50%. Okay. So if I run it, so it moved here, but it is not the exact center. So how to move it to the exact center? And here we do a different bit of trick, like it is not an exact center, we have to use the transform property here. So because it is taking from here, so we'll use the transform as. So again, the transform is the animation property, but use a lot in a lot of places. Translate as minus 50%, comma minus 50%. I'm going to do, and if I do this, it will be the exact center. So this is how we move it to the exact center. Okay, so that is there, and now okay. So the interviewer can also ask, let us see this as the last question maybe. Yes, fiddle. Okay, like this. To central element, a block element inside using flexbox and CSS grid. Actually, this is very easy to do. We don't have to use anything like this. Maybe I'm going to use the same thing here. Like I'm going to use the same thing, and here I'm going to use this and this same thing. I'll remove all these things actually. I don't want this thing. I don't want to do this thing. Only what happens with flexbox and grid on the parent element, you can do a display of flex and justify content as center, and we have a CSS flexbox and grid course also. Please see that also. And these two questions are also very important in CSS. How to centrally align everything. It's a very important question. Center is there like this, and see, I run it, and it has moved to the exact center. Exact center it is moved. So this is how we do it with flexbox. And grid is also like grid have also this justify content and align item things. So instead of flexbox, okay, actually I will do one thing. I'll comment it out. Why to write it again? And I'll do a display of grid. So grid also have the same properties. So instead of the flexbox, I just have to give the grid. It doesn't matter, and it will be the same. So this is how this is done. We're going to continue with CSS. So what is the difference between static, relative? What is the difference between static, relative, absolute, and position fixed? Okay, so this is our question number 1 today. Okay, so let's get started. So what is the difference? Okay, static. So static is by default everything. So by default everything, it is a static. It will be static, means the natural flow which is there. It is known as static. Okay, so let us see this through an example. So I'll have a div of 1 class equal to 1 div of 2 class equal to 2 div of 3 class equal to 3. So this is there, and now I have a bit here. Okay. Yeah. Div ph width of 300 pixel and height of 40 pixel, padding of 20 pixel, and background of yellow is there. So 1 to 3 is there, and I've given this div of this, and let us have all of this with different type of color. Okay, why it is not coming? Run it. Okay, so it is coming like this. So for 1, I'll have a border of 8 8px. And one thing I will always say, always if you are going to answer interview with writing something, you will be more impressed. Okay, most of the time they will give you access to some online editors or something like that, and they will more happy that if you can going to do it with this like this. I can also say that, okay, like position, what is position absolute, what is position relative and all. So that's the reason most of the time most of the interviews are not telephonic, they're on Zoom or something like that. Okay, so that is like that. So to or else they will be whiteboard interviews, red and three, maybe green. So like this. So all of these are of different colors. Okay, so that is there. Now see, by default static means the natural flow. So what is happening right now, by default it is a natural flow. So position relative, so what is the position relative? Position relative, let have a, in the second one I'll have a position as relative and top of 50 pixel, top of 50 pixel I'll do, and the second one I'll have this. So if you do it, see it have moved 50 pixel down from the original position what it was there. It has moved 50 position down without affecting the element, without it didn't affected the element. Actually 1 and 3 it didn't affected the 1 and 3. So position relative doesn't disturb its environment. Okay, so this is there. Okay, then the position absolute, which will let us change the position of the second one only to us as absolute, and top is like this. Okay, so see now absolute, what is happening. So 3 moves up and 1, and is it is moving like as if 2 doesn't exist. So let us see, means what is like this, means where is like this 2, because we are not able to see everything else here. So I give opacity of 0.8 I'm here. So see what will happen now, opacity of 0.8 I'm here. So see it is like 2 has moved like 50 pixel up as if, and 1 and 3 are like joined. See, this is a line there, it is joined as if 2 doesn't exist. Okay, so position absolute does disturb this environment, that is referenced to the parent, it is referenced to the parent. Okay, so that is there. And now position fixed, position fixed is like it is like a position absolute only, but it is referenced on the entire page. Okay, so position fixed I'll do, and run it. And again, this is a very important interview question, very important. Okay, okay, so to see this position fixed, we have to do something. See, we cannot see this position fixed like this. Position fixed is something which will stay at the position even if you have some scroll and other things. Okay, so it will be there. So, and one more thing I will do here, like this background as like hash f2 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 I'll do, save it, and let me have 3 a lot of times. So I want to have a scroll kind of a thing. So scroll kind of a thing is there. Like 3 is have a lot of time. See, now I am scrolling it. See, it is always 50 pixel on the top, but I am able to scroll it and it will be like this. So this is the position fixed. Okay, so this is position fixed. So this is there, and now we are going to see the next question. And this fiddle is over. So I'll do a JSfiddle, and the question is like. Again, a very important interview tricky question. What is the difference between visibility hidden and display none? This is very important question. Visibility hidden and display none. Okay, so let us understand that. So both of them will sort of, they will hide the element or something. There's a bit of difference between them. What is the difference? Let us see that. div and Nabendu and class equal to name and div and uh, good evening and all. Good evening all. So upper div is visibility hidden. So I'm writing something because we are soon going to do it hidden. Upper div is visibility hidden and then div and class equal to name 2 and div upper div is display of none. So this is like, so now both of them are shown because I have not done the visibility, hidden the visibility again. So I will now hit the visibility. So dot name and this will be visibility hidden and dot name 2 it will be display none. So see if I run it, so both of them are not there, both of them are not there because one for one it is visibility and for the other it is display none. Okay, so so but what is the difference actually, so with this, if you can see clearly with this visibility your hidden visibility hidden, there is elements height but there is a empty space is been left here, empty space has been left here, but to display none there is no empty space left here. Okay, so there is an empty space which was left here because it is where this name was coming, this empty space is there. So you should always use display none, not visibility hidden. Visibility hidden have this problem that it will leave that empty space. So if you need that, you can do that. Okay, you don't need it. Most of the time I have seen we use display none only. So but this is the difference. Visibility hidden leaves the blank space. Okay, so that is there. Now we'll uh, look into another thing like what is a shadow DOM. So this is sometime which is asked. This is sometimes which has been asked sometime. And JSfiddle, what is a shadow DOM? So what is a shadow DOM? Again, a very important question. CSS is basically global. Okay, so if you write a style for one element, it affects the other element. So shadow DOM is a way to attach hidden separated DOM to an element so that the CSS stays encapsulated. So it is a way. There are other ways are also there to hit CSS, like in React JS we have some ways and all those things are there. So let us see an example for that. And here I'll have a h3 welcome to our website and div id equal to shadow shadow host and span is like this is not id, this is not rendered and id equal to, let me write then we will see id equal to child and then there is a template is there and it will have a id equal to news widget and here I'll have a style here, right, like this. H3 color is green. H3 news this widget is there. Okay, and H3 color is blue. So color is blue is there. So let me run it. Okay, so this color is blue is been shown for this S3. Welcome to our site. And now what is a shadow DOM? Okay, so come here and see. We'll have a what we are going to have, we are going to have a template which we will insert programmatically with the id of shadow host with this will insert. Okay, so let us have this thing. Let's see, we have to write a bit of JavaScript also for this. So this is where we write JavaScript. Let's and this is again a very very complicated question. Most probably you'll not get it. So some of the questions are very complicated and all. So but if you know it, means if a bit of it you know, then it is okay. You get more points. Get element by id. But whatever I have told, when I told it's a very important question, it's a very important question. Visibility hidden is a must question. So that is something which people every time ask. Okay, so I'm going to choose this thing. See, this is not rendered, so I'm choosing this thing. Get element by id, this thing, shadow host, I'm getting that. And then let shadow shadow root equal to this shadow host. So to create this shadow DOM, we have to use a bit of JavaScript. Okay, dot create shadow root. So this is again create shadow root is again this JavaScript thing. Shadow root, create shadow root is, I have not written it. It is like that. It is there. Let shadow child equal to document dot create element and span is there. Then shadow child dot inner html to document dot get this news widget dot inner html like this, and then shadow root dot and child is shadow child like this. So maybe this, okay, there will be some mistakes here, so that's why it is not coming. Okay, shadow child and all. Okay, 1 sec. There is some error. Create shadow root is not a function. It's shadow root. Okay, is this okay? Let us see why it is saying this thing. Oh, Oh, deprecated. Okay. So ignore this question. This is deprecated. Shadow DOM thing is deprecated. So I think this is very old thing. So please ignore it. Okay, so I didn't know that this is deprecated or not. So we can ignore it. So that's why it was saying that there is nothing like that. Okay, shadow thing is there. So some of the things are deprecated. These questions I have for some time back. Okay, so this is there. So then there is another thing, like this is a trick kind of a questions, and this is not a trick actually. You require to make this a lot of times in CSS, because I was doing some front-end mentor project, and there also you have to make this thing. What is this? How to build a triangle using plain CSS. This is a very important skill to have. Although you can Google it and get it how to create a triangle using plain CSS, but this is a very good thing to know. Means what is the actually the technique behind this, and you can find many articles and they explain it in a very good way. Because a front-end mentor also I was doing something like this. Down triangle we have to create, and then we cannot like use anything else like that. Down triangle we have to use like this plain CSS. There is one other thing, I don't remember its name, but with plain CSS we need to do it. Okay, so I'll come here and do a div and class equal to ri triangle. Then we need to create a the first thing which I have to do is to create a square box. Try, and then the ph width is 200 pixel, height is 200 pixel, and background is red. So this I've created, and I run it. So it will have this like this square box. Okay, so then what we are going to do, we'll have all of its border of different color, so let us do that. So border top is 10 px solid blue, and what is like border top, border left, border right, border bottom bottom. So blue aqua, aqua, green, yellow, like this I'll have. And then okay, so let me run it. So see this all the borders are of different color, but see one thing important, see how it is cut, so all the border I have taken out of different colors, and it is very important to see how they are cut. So now what will make, now I'll make the height and the width as 0. So it was having some height and the width. So if I make those things as 0, so what will happen? See, it will shift all of this thing will be shifted here, because there is no height and width of it. Okay, so it is like this, and now we have got a triangle. So we, as you can see that we have got actually 4 triangles. Okay, 4 triangles we have got, and which one, anyone which we want to show, we can show it. Okay, so anyone which we want to show, we can show it. And this 10 pixel is actually very small. So let us make the border a bit bigger. So like 100 pixel, like 100 pixel and 100 pixel and 100 pixel and 100 pixel, so that I can see it like a big. Okay, so like this, and we have a triangle. So now just we need to do whatever triangle we want to show, that one we will leave it like that. Rest of them we'll make it as a transparent. So suppose I want to show this blue one. So what I will do, this 100 pixel and all this thing needed to be there. Okay. One more thing is that we have to, okay, my bad. So we have to remove the opposite triangle. Okay. So let me show that thing. Transparent. So I'll make it transparent. So transparent is also the left, transparent, right is transparent. Run it. Okay. Left and right is transparent, but right is showing like this. Okay, background red is something which I have to remove. So now it will not show. So now it is not shown. So if I make This also is transparent, so it's done. Okay, this will be done, and I have got a blue triangle. Okay, I got a blue triangle. So like this you can do, means whatever you want to show you can show like this you can do, and different things you can do. So this if I want to show this side triangle, then what to do? Okay, so what was this? This one was, suppose I want to show this red one. So red one I'll show it as green, like this, right? And I will run it. It will shown like this. Okay, one more thing. If I want this triangle to be exactly at here, so what I will do, I will make the opposite as not as transparent. Opposite, I will just comment it out, so it will move actually. So this is something which we can do. This is how we have done it. Okay, so this is how the triangles are created easily. There are other ways also to create triangle. This is the most easiest way to create the triangles, and triangles are useful at a lot of places. Okay, this fiddle I'll do again, and then now what is the thing? What are pseudo elements in CSS? What are pseudo elements in CSS? Again, a very important question is, what are the pseudo elements? Okay, so let us see what are the pseudo elements. And pseudo elements are used to give spatial effects, and sometimes the extra markup also it is there without disturbing its environment. So there is a very important pseudo element known as after and before. So you might have seen almost everybody uses it, but those who see the CSS first and they are literally confused. What is this after? What is this before? And all these things. Okay, so we'll see that. First, I will have a key and I will have a high. So then I will have a div and howdy like this, and I will have a like p. So I will use p and I will have the after like this, and in this I'll have a content and how are you, how are you I'm going to have. And then if I run it, see how are you after, it means it will be after, it is just done after. Most of the time you see the content is like an empty string that is taken for a reason. Okay, so but we can put something inside this content is meant for that one. Then I'll have a div of before and content of greetings. Greetings I'll do, content of greetings I'll do, run it. See, it is coming after, it is coming before actually, not after, it is coming before. I will run it and it is coming just before. Greetings howdy, greetings howdy. Okay, so this is like this, it is coming. Okay, so okay, one of the very practical use of pseudo element is to create a tooltip. Okay, so this is not how we use it. Okay, so we can create tooltip with the help of pseudo class. Okay, so let us do that. And tooltip in the sense, okay, so let us have a button here, button, and welcome, and welcome is there, and run it. So a button will be shown after this. Okay, button will be shown after this. But button, I will have a hover property, and after it. Okay, so this is something which is button button, and when the button hover is done, so hover is done, it will, I can do anything here like this. But I want the hover property to show something, so I'll do a after, and then I'll put a content welcome to the world. I'll do run it. Now I will hover my mouse over it. See, welcome to the world. It's like expanding it. So this is not possible in the normal hover thing. Okay, so this is like a cool effect which can do with this after. Okay, so now next thing is that next question, a very important question. This is something which you will see at a lot of places. So this what are data attributes and what are its utilities? Okay, what are the data attributes and what are its utilities? I give the position here. Yeah, I gave the position here. So like this. So in HTML, if you want to store the data, you use the data attributes. And I've seen that data attributes been used in testing also. You can see in the below. We'll now see that. Okay. So I'll come here and do. Yeah, that is a cool stuff. Button and file and class equal to profile data dash name equal to undo and data hash. So this data is something known as a data attribute. So what is that? We are going to learn data as attribute.id equal to and Nabendu Biswas, like this I will have, and this is there. So in button I can have a dot profile. See dot profile is a class name, and in that I'll have a our property, and in that I'll have a before like this, and in that I'll have a content and attr and data data name. So what is this content attr data name? So let me now run it and see Nabendu's profile is coming. So this is like this. What is this data name? Instead of hard coding it like in the previous thing, hard coding it, so we can pass it through the data thing. So and we can access it by attr. So like this we can access it. So that is there, and okay. Now the next thing, what is the Z index, or as the American people say, what is a Z index? Not JS. When I'm working on JSfiddle, what is a Z index or a Z index? Okay, so that is there. So what is this? So Z index is the property which specifies the stack in the order of the elements. So Z index you will see almost in every CSS you'll use. So what happens, like if a Z index is more, it will be on the top of the other one. So we can have a lot of, like this, like a stack, one over the other, one over the other. So if something has Z index of 1, it will be over something which is of Z index of 0. Okay, so let us see it with an example. And here I'll have a div of a, and here class equal to a, b, c, d. Okay, so I have these things, and then dot of a, comma, dot of b, comma, dot of c, comma, dot of d. I'll have and width of 100 px, height of 100 px, position of absolute, and top of 0. So see, all of them are at the top of each other. Okay, so all of them are at the top of each other because position absolute. Now I'll have a dot a background of red, b of background of A Q U A aqua, C a background of green, and D a background of yellow. It's like this. So all of them have a different background. So I'll run it. So see. So what will be shown? So the last one, which is the D, that has been shown to us. Okay. So because it is the last one and they are on the top of each other. They are on the top of each other. So now what I am going to do, I want to see all of them. So how to see all of them? Let us do a bit of left here. Left of 5px, left of 10px, and left of 15px. This I have, and I will run it. So all of these are been shown now, like C, D, and all of these things are shown. Okay. Now we'll see the z index property. So z index property of all the elements, by default it is 0. By default it is 0. So we will want to see the C element now. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to come here and do the z index of 1. Means it is more than the rest of them. So if I run it, C will be shown. So this is what it is there. And if we make the B, like the B, we make it the Z index of 2, then if I run it, see the B will be shown. Okay, so B is been shown like this. So this is what is all about the CSS. So now we are going to start with the JavaScript interview questions. And JavaScript, they use a lot about the var, like let and var, all those things they will ask a lot. Okay, so just, so the first question in JavaScript is always the same thing. Okay. And this is also something which you always teach in our JavaScript. JavaScript also means what is there. And yeah. So instead of JSfiddle, I'll do it in JSBin now, because this is JavaScript. This is much better to do it in JSBin because I want the JavaScript and console. I don't want anything else. So here the question is, what is the difference between var, let, var, and const? So what is the difference here? Okay. So the thing is that var is from the start of JavaScript from 1995. Let and const were introduced as a part of ES6. And what are they? Let me tell again. I have told it a lot of time, but let me tell again. Okay. So the basically the thing is that okay, this is a long thing. But the thing is that var is a functional scope. Var is functional scope, and let is a block scope, just like any other programming language. And const is totally different. The const is something which if we define once, we cannot redefine it again. And there is one thing, const behaves differently for array and object. So I'll give a complete answer here. I'll give a complete answer. Hosting and all I will tell. We'll come to that. All of those things will come. Because hosting is again a very important question in JavaScript interview. Hosting people will definitely ask. Okay, so we have just started with JavaScript. So this is generally the first question, not the hosting is not the first question. This is the first question, always. Okay, so because I used to ask this question, as I've told, I've taken more than 1,000 interviews. This is the first JavaScript question I used to ask, and this is something which you'll also get. What is the difference between let, var, and const? And trust me, half of the people don't know this thing. When you ask someone, they will, okay, I am using let and const. I don't. They don't even know what is this. What is this difference is there? So they are just using let, and let. It is not like that. So the main difference is that, as I told, var is functional scope, and this was because of a mistake. Most programming language, everything should be a block scope, not a functional scope, which is not a good thing. Okay, so let us understand what is a function scope. Suppose I have a if statement, like a normal if statement. I'll do so, and I'll have a true here. So means it will always run. It will always run. It's true. So I'll have here true. Then I will have a var num1 equal to console.log inside if bar, okay, inside your bar, and maybe plus one outside if bar number. See, in most other programming language, what will be there? Most other programming language, this will not means this will the second one will fail outside if bar. What happens because the scope of num1 is from here till here. Scope of num1 is from here till here. Okay, not outside it. But in JavaScript, var is like a functional scope, not a block scope. So if I run it, both of them will come. Okay, both of them will come. Not a good thing again. So, and what is now the let? Let is like if like this again. I'll have a let here. Let, and let me comment this out, or else it will cause some problem. Let maybe num2 I have to num2 and 20 inside if let, outside if let num2 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 and clear it, run it. Okay, and this is vs, this JS will have this issue. So okay, the second one is giving me error because the scope of let variable ends inside a scope, inside a like this, inside this it will end, the scope of it will end like this. Okay, so like a if statement, switch statement, all of those things will create a scope and it will end here. And this is a very good behavior. It happens in almost every other programming language. Everything is a block scope. Okay, but now var is a functional scope. What is exactly a functional scope? It means that we can stop the scope of a var if we wrap it in a function. So let us create a simple JavaScript function. Hope everybody knows this much because they are you all are preparing for JavaScript interview, so you should know this much. Okay, so I'll create a simple function and var exp like this I'll do. And so if you don't know what is this function and all those things, I have a very good JavaScript course which I've recently taken, 5-day course, 5-day certification course, which you have every month, so you can see that. Okay, so like this I'll have here, and then I guess, and this is there. Now what I have again, var exp like this, and then and here I will write outside function var. Okay, I clear it and run it. So see this two are run, but this is giving error. It because the scope of any var can be stored with a function. So the scope of this number is from here till here. Outside it doesn't exist. So that's why it gave an error. But this is not a very good behavior. Because of this thing, JavaScript used to have a lot of issues. Means people don't know what is this functional scope and all this thing. Block scope is like from the start of programming. It is on the start of programming. Okay, so that was not an issue, but this was an issue because people don't understand. Okay, this is a functional scope, but this is the thing. Var is a function scope and not a block scope. So what about const? So const is something again a very good thing. So const nowadays, actually this const thing. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me comment this out. This const things, what happened nowadays, we use a lot. Even instead of a let, we use const a lot. Okay, so why we do this thing? Okay, let me show this thing. So const. Suppose I have what I have name. So I cannot have like this name. So I cannot do like this. Okay, so it will give me error. I cannot do it like this. It will give me error. Okay, it will give me error. I cannot do it like this. But there is something in const which I can do. What is that? What is like I'll do a const child it is equal to maybe 12 comma 13 comma 14. So I have this 12 comma 13 comma 14. I have this all these things. Now what will happen here? I cannot again do some. Suppose I want to add one more thing here. Okay, so I cannot come here and do it like this. Child is 13, 14, 14, and then I can do a 16. So I cannot do it like this. Again, it will give me error. But the thing is that the good thing is that we never add something in an array like this. We never add it. We always add something in an array with the pushing at the end. So I'll do child ages dot push maybe 16, the same thing, and then console dot log of child ages. See, now it will give me no error. So this is something like that, it is there. This is something, it is like that, it is there. And then the next thing is that this is quite possible. This is quite possible. Okay, this is quite possible. Okay, so that is there. And so that's why these constants are so much popular, because most of the time variables you don't directly change, but in the arrays and we push at the end. So that is very possible. And objects, it is one level ahead. In objects it is one level ahead. So it is like const. Suppose I have an obj equal to like maybe name else equal to JS. In objects, we can go one step ahead. Here, what we can do, we can change a key value pair, and we can add a new key value pair also. So obj dot skills skills equal to react and obj dot profession equal to trainer. So this is like this. I can do both of these things. Okay, console dot log and obj. I'll do like this and see now. Right, let it run it. So it is not giving an error, and skills means skills can be changed and the new profession can be added. So this is about your cons. So I have told about all of these things. Okay, and again, this is a very important interview question, and that is there. And now the thing is that the next interview question is always the in JavaScript. The next interview question is always after this. What is the difference between double equal to and triple equal to? Always this is the next interview question, because there is no triple equal to in any other programming language. All programming language have double equal to, and that is known as a comparison operator, but none of the programming language have triple equal to. And this is again done in JavaScript, because there was a bug in JavaScript. And as you all know, which I tell in my JavaScript course, that JavaScript was created in 10 days. It is not possible to create a language in 10 days. There is a lot of bugs, but you cannot resolve all the bugs. So this was there. Okay, so if you want to know why that was there, everything I tell in it my JavaScript also. So now, what is this double equal to and what is this triple equal to? So let us see that. So suppose I have a const num equal to string 10, and num equal to string 10, and then if num double equal to 10, so console dot log sum is string 10. So this is it. So it will give me this thing. But the thing is that in almost every other programming language, this will not run. Why this will not run? This will not run because a string 10 is never equal to a number 10. So this string is always different. The moment in any other programming language, it will see that okay, a string has been compared with a number, it will not even compare, it will not even check what is there. But in JavaScript, when something like this has been seen, what it does the internal means the compiler try to change it. Compiler will try to change the string to a number, and it will be successfully able to change a string 10 to a number 10. So it will compare it, and it will run it. So this is something which is there in the JavaScript, which is a very, very bad behavior. So now to fix this was a very big issue when JavaScript was released. So then to fix it within the next 2-3 years, and JavaScript by default, that JavaScript was released in 1995. So what happened? They figure out that it's a very big issue. So like num1, maybe num1. If I do this triple equal to here, okay, or maybe const num1 equal to 20, I'll do, or not 20, like this again, the string 20, num1 equal to 20, num1 is num1 is what I will say, num1 is okay, anyone's okay, string not number. Okay, so like this I'll do, and see if I run it, it will not show. It will not show. If I put a else part, maybe else part, whenever it is wrong, it will run num1. Maybe I'll put it like this. Num1 is string 20. Maybe like this. Right, run it. So it will show this thing. It means that it was not able to successfully do this thing. So what happens when I give a triple equal to? The main thing is triple equal to what it will do. It will like don't go for fancy words and all. The triple equal to, the main thing is that it doesn't do any type checking and all this. It just behaves like normal thing. So what it does, if he sees that the string has been compared with a number, it will not even touch it. Just like any other programming language, it will not even touch it. So here it was just forcibly like converting it, whether it should not have been converting it, but here it will not even touch it. Okay, so that is there. Now the next question is like this is again a very important question which will be always asked. What is the difference between a null and a undefined? Okay, so let us see that. Okay, let a equal to null and let b. So this is like this. So the main thing between null and undefined is that null is something which is assigned by the user, just like I'm assigning it. And undefined, if you leave something blank, it is undefined. Both of them means one thing. Both of them means empty values. Both of them are empty values. Both of them are empty values. Null and undefined, both of them are empty values. But again, there is something else is also there, which is there. Okay, so let us see that thing, and that is like. There is a type of operator that is again a wrong thing in JavaScript. Console.log and type of a type of b. I'll do clear it, run it. See, this is coming as an object and this is coming as undefined. So that is okay. Okay, so there are two things I want to tell here. One is that what is exactly a null and undefined. So null and undefined, as I have told that both of them is empty values, but null is something which is assigned by the user. In programmatically terms, we have to assign null at a lot of times, and b, like undefined, is something if you leave something blank, it will be undefined. So another thing is that very easy question, easy like example which I always say, that you go to a college and you fill a college form. Okay, so you fill a college form, and there is a college form, there is a field like first name, middle name, and last name. So there is a middle name is there, so this middle name is there, and a lot of people don't have a middle name. So they will do two things. Either in the middle name they will fill like any or not applicable or a dash they will give, or they will leave it blank. So anything which they give, when the clerk, when she or he is going to see that in the computer, they are going to enter that physical form. In India it happens like that. So they are going to means put as empty only, put as empty only in the computer. So either you put any not applicable, means I am the user, I'm putting it as null, or I'm leaving it as blank. Okay, I'm leaving it as blank, so it means empty only. So that is it. But then there is one more thing. There's a type of this can again be a question in itself. Why a type of null is an object and type of anything, type of is an operator which gives a type of this thing. So there are another primitive types are also there. Please go through my JavaScript thing, like number, string, boolean, and six types are there. Number, string, booleans, and all those things. Okay, so that is there. But then what is why is the type of null is a object? Again, this is because it's a bug in JavaScript, and that bug cannot be solved because JavaScript is like everything. That bug cannot be solved. That's from the earlier, because JavaScript was created in 10 days. So the developer, so the creator, so he means in 10 days he didn't slept and created it. So that bug was left there. Okay, so that is there. Okay, so now let us okay, let us actually end it. So we'll end it here today. And